So here's something to think about, especially if you're working with data, maybe using Fivetran. Ask yourself this. Are your skills with it, like, truly job-changing, making a real fundamental difference?
Yeah, that's a really pointed question, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And it gets right to something big that's shifting. I mean, for ages, using tools like Fivetran felt, well, almost too easy, right?
Totally. Connect a source, click a few buttons. The source we're looking at today calls it the 5 clicks setup.
Exactly. The 5 clicks, and boom, data's flowing.
It solves that first problem, getting the data in, the EL part of ELT. Extraction, loading, done.
For sure. And Fivetran, along with the whole modern data stack, it's automated that first step brilliantly from like hundreds of sources.
It really opened things up.
It did.
Yeah.
But as businesses grow, as data gets massive and, well, as data becomes more critical, the challenges change a lot.
And that's where just knowing those 5 clicks, it's not enough anymore.
Not even close.
So this deep dive, it's really about what comes next. We're digging into this great source, mastering Fivetran beyond basic clicks.
Right.
And it's all about showing what real mastery looks like, going beyond just using Fivetran to, strategically leveraging it.
Yeah, moving from just doing the task to thinking about the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Because for senior engineers, architects, even analysts who are looking ahead, the game isn't just get the data in. It's making sure it's reliable, secure, cost-effective, and fits into everything else.
So how does that change things for you, maybe building a team or maybe building your own career?
It means the baseline, the expectation. It's just higher now. Hiring managers aren't just ticking a box, knows Fivetran.
Right.
They're digging deeper. They want to know if you get the operational side of the strategy. And for engineers, mastering this stuff is becoming key for growth, for tackling the really interesting problems.
That strategic piece, that's the core challenge we're getting into today, then.
That's exactly it.
Okay, so let's break it down. The source doesn't just say get better. It's specific, right?
Yeah.
About what mastery actually involves.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that a lot of it goes beyond just the Fivetran interface. It touches security, modeling, cost, infrastructure.
Absolutely. Like, take security. It's not just setting up the login. The source talks about securing the whole pipeline, things like SSH tunnels, VPNs, making sure that connection is solid, especially for sensitive stuff.
Exactly. It's layers. Fivetran does its part, but you got to secure the path to it and how it accesses your systems. Often means talking to other teams, network folks, security folks.
Shows a broader view than just one tool.
Totally.
And then schema management. This guy's kind of dry, maybe.
Maybe. But super important at scale, according to the source. It's not just letting Fivetran copy everything.
Right.
Real mastery means you're actively managing what lands in the destination, pruning schemas smartly.
Why prune?
Well, think about it. Every field you replicate, if it changes, it can impact your monthly active rows, your MAR.
MAR. Fivetran's billing metric, based on rows changing each month.
Yep. So choosing not to sync fields you don't actually need. That's not just cleanup, it's cost control, direct cost control.
The source gives examples, right?
Yeah.
Like audit timestamps or status flags that change all the time.
Exactly. Those kinds of things. They can blow up your MA even if you don't care about that specific change. Learning to spot and cut those, big savings potential.
Yeah.
Real business impact.
And schema drift, when the source structure changes.
Yeah, that's another big one. Field added, removed, types changing. If you're not on top of it, downstream stuff breaks.
So advanced users have a plan.
They do. Maybe configure Fivetran to ignore some changes, or more likely set up monitoring, get alerted when drift happens so you can deal with it before it breaks your transformations or reports.
Makes sense. Proactive, not reactive.
Right. And the syncs themselves. It's not just picking every hour.
No.
No, it's about fine-tuning. Does this really need 5-minute freshness, or is daily okay? Every sync costs something, takes resources.
And understanding how incremental updates work for different connectors.
Crucial. Change data capture, timestamps. Knowing how it works helps you know when it might fail, or when maybe you do need a full resync. Troubleshooting that.
Which brings us to troubleshooting. Maybe the biggest skill difference.
I'd argue, yeah, because things will break.
Inevitably.
And just hitting retry isn't going to cut it.
So what do you do?
You investigate. The source is clear. Get comfortable reading Fivetran logs. Like, really comfortable.
That's fundamental.
Totally. Understand the errors. Trace the problem. Is it permissions? Network? Bad data format? The logs have the clues.
And it's not just Fivetran logs, is it? It's the whole path.
That's the expert level view. Maybe Fivetran's slow, but the real issue is the source API throttling you or the warehouse being overloaded. You got to see the whole picture.
Which kind of leads to the next point.
But
where does Fivetran fit in the grand scheme of things?
Yeah, the source really hammers this home. You need to understand its place in the whole data architecture.
So knowing what happens after the data lands.
Absolutely. Mastering the transformation. Tools like dbt are dominant there.
Right, for modeling, cleaning, shaping that raw data Fivetran delivers.
Exactly. And how Fivetran set up your schema choices, your MAR drivers, directly impacts those dbt models. Junk in from Fivetran, junk out from dbt, or just failed runs.
You need to know how they connect.
And it was wider. Cloud platforms, AWS, GCP, Azure, understanding security there, IAM.
Identity and access management, permissions.
Right. Setting up Fivetran's access correctly, least privilege, so it can talk to S3 or your cloud database securely, but only do what it needs to.
Even things like Python scripting.
Yeah, not to replace Fivetran, but to automate around it, triggering syncs based on events, running quick data quality checks after a load, stuff like that.
So it's this blend, deep Fivetran knowledge plus security, cloud, dbt, debugging.
Right.
That's what companies want.
Yeah, it's the cross-functional mastery, yeah. Not just a Fivetran button pusher, but someone who gets the whole data ecosystem and uses Fivetran strategically within it.
Okay, bringing it home. How do you actually apply this? The source has advice for hiring managers and for engineers, right?
It does. For hiring managers, it's basically ask better questions. Don't just ask, do you know Fivetran?
Ask how they use it.
Exactly. Ask things like, how do you optimize syncs for cost and performance? Or walk me through debugging a tough sync failure using the logs. How do you handle schema changes?
Gets past the surface level, shows real understanding.
Right. And for engineers wanting to level up, the source gives a pretty clear roadmap.
Yeah, specific steps you can take. First, get into those logs.
Spend time there. Understand what they're telling you. Make it a habit.
Then figure out MAR, how to analyze it, how to reduce it, audit your connectors.
Yeah, find those fields you don't need. Experiment with pruning. It saves money, plain and simple.
Build monitoring around the syncs. Be proactive.
Set up alerts for failures, delays, schema changes. Don't wait for users to find problems.
And, like we said, master dbt. Understand how Fivetran feeds into it, how reliability and structure over there impact your transformations.
But the big theme, the main takeaway from the source, it's about shifting your thinking, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's not just learning Fivetran. It's learning to think strategically about data ingestion and how Fivetran helps build a reliable, efficient, secure data platform.
Because companies need more than just connectors.
They need partners, people who get the tool deeply, its strengths, its limits, and use it smartly to control costs, ensure security, deliver insights.
So whether you're building a team or your own career, this advanced strategic level of Fivetran mastery is not optional anymore.
No, it's fast becoming the new standard for top data engineering roles. The source material we discussed today, it really lays this out clearly with more detail, examples. Really valuable stuff if you're serious.
And it leaves us with a final thought, maybe something to chew on.
Yeah.
Given how fast data tools change, how does focusing on these core principles, optimization, reliability, security, integration, how does that set you up, not just for Fivetran today, but for whatever comes next? That's a great question. How does focusing on the fundamentals prepare you for the next wave of challenges? Something to reflect on for sure. Think about your own skills, where you might focus next.
Stay curious, stay strategic. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.